Hi guys, I am so excited to be here right now. This video is going to be a little bit different than what you guys are used to seeing me film. Today I am at Ajmal Parfums in Dubai, and to be honest with you guys, I have wanted to visit Ajmal since I moved to Dubai 5 years ago. So today what we're going to do is actually interview the CEO, Abdullah Ajmal. I'm going to ask him some questions. Ajmal is actually considered to be the king of oud in the entire world. They produce the highest quality oud in the world. So I'm really excited to talk to Abdullah today and just to kind of get to know Ajmal and the fragrances a little bit more. So yeah, I cannot wait for this video. Let's go ahead and take ourselves inside. How is Ajmal's oud different from other regional suppliers?
That's a very difficult question to answer because at the end of the day, this commodity doesn't exactly have benchmarking. I was talking to somebody earlier and I said the same name can be used by different people and they call it the same grade, but our grade of the same name we would consider definitely better or even best for that matter. How would one quantify that? I think that's entirely up to two things. One is the consumer, who could be a lot experienced in it. Yeah. So you would have a lot of older generation people, because they've been using ouds for so long, they would really recognize what is better quality. And quality in this is actually a matter of choice. And the other thing is faith in the brand that is selling it. But what's most important for this is many people out there, and I'm not going to say that everybody, but many people out there call 100% oud, but that is not the case. So purity, when we say something is oud and it's pure, it's 100% pure. And it's all tested in our lab. Make sure that it's 100% pure.
Because you have your own plantation of oud.
That too, yeah. Apart from our plantations, we buy from suppliers as well. We have our own extraction units as well. And we come from a region which is quite impoverished. So this has become a trade. It's a cottage industry which runs a lot of homes. So we don't necessarily go completely, scale up, because that would take a lot of the livelihood away from people.
Which fragrance from Ajmal do you think best defines the brand's DNA?
Well, some of them are here. I would say the DNA, as you said, king of oud. So obviously anything that has oud in it, or maybe in its purest form. In my knowledge, we are the only farm to fragrance brand in the world. That means we have our own plantations. We supply to a lot of the big houses as well. Yeah. Different raw materials, oud, etc. And then we're a fragrance house which can do all the way from Western, Occidental, very, very light fragrances, all the way to the deepest and darkest oud.
I would love to educate my, community a little bit more about that. Is that Ajmal, you not only create fragrances, but you also supply to fragrance houses.
Almost all the big names out there.
So some of your favorite fragrances from all different brands might have Ajmal oud inside. How do you choose the type of oud for each fragrance?
It's like any perfumer would choose. Let's take an example. A perfumer is given a brief that it needs to be a rosy fragrance. It is the personification, the way you would imagine the fragrance. Eventually, a good perfumer should be able to do that. But of course, that is a process of trial and error. Certain examples, let's say if you're putting certain kind of rose, it might work. So let's say Turkish might work or may not work. So it all depends on the experience of the perfumer, who'll say, okay, this kind of a structure, there is a body, and we're going to smell a couple of them where there is a mix of oud as a raw material rather than in its entirety. Yeah. So the decision is normally left up to the perfumer, because they know there are certain ouds that smell more earthy. There are certain ouds that smell more animalic. There are certain ones that actually smell more floral. And then there is a quality which has become very popular in the industry right now, which is very, very toppy. And if you smell it, it's quite buttery, cheesy, right? But when you add it to a formulation, it brings the oud. Normally when you use oud, you normally find it at the base of the fragrance. But this is now used by a lot of perfumers, which I can't name the brands, but they use it to give a toppy, oudy feel.
Kind of left up to the perfumers. They will analyze the brief and decide which oud might be best suited to the structure.
Oh, absolutely. If they say, I need something really woody, then there is a grade of oud which is more woody in nature. So they would use that. They could even use more than one because they want it to be on various levels and layers.
Do you have any advice for the consumer on how they can distinguish real oud from an oud accord? Because obviously you would know oud accords are, you know, what most brands are using, but some of them don't necessarily disclose that. So how can the consumers recognize that?
Honestly, it's only through going and experiencing what a real oud is. Because today, globally, oud is a trend. It's used in marketing nomenclature as well. Exactly. And many of the brands are using oud, but as a raw material. The only way to know it is to actually experience real oud. So you would go to an Ajmal and you say, okay, I want to see real oud, what it smells like. Yeah. And then you would look at whatever fragrance out there, try and relate that, is this what I smell? And with practice, and you know better than I do that it's every day. If you are an enthusiast, then you learn over a period of time, and you learn and you read and you are able to define fragrances differently. It's the same way. The more times you smell oud, you'll find different elements to it. Different regions will amplify different notes. That's the only way to really know. Otherwise, there is no other way.
And I noticed myself, so a couple of years ago when I smelled some fragrances that were containing like real oud, I thought it was not good. Like it smelled really just not good to me at all. And I feel like at some point after you smell more and more oud fragrances that are containing real oud, or you're just kind of slowly getting used to the note, and I feel like eventually you start to really appreciate it and fall in love with it.
Yep.
So for me it was like a really big journey. I'm not saying that I wear pure oud oil every single day of my life. I don't think I will get to that point. But I really do appreciate a fragrance that is containing real oud, and I enjoy it so much.
It is absolutely an acquired taste. It takes time. Again, it doesn't work everywhere. I'll tell you one thing though. Even if you use pure oud, a lot of our customers, if not all of them, I would say the majority, including myself, we use oud oil and mix it with some other brand. I use oud oil. I can do it on a Friday or a day off because obviously I can't wear strong fragrances when I come to work over here. But I would wear one of the fragrances that we're going to evaluate with an oud oil. So it gives a completely different sort of effect. And normally the way I do it is I put the oud on my hand and I just sort of like, you know, rub it on my neck and everything.
Is that a tip that you would give to people?
Yeah, definitely. Because for example, me, when I talk, I move my arms a lot. So then as you move, the fragrance wafts as well. And then on top of that, as I was wearing a scarf, I sprayed that fragrance on top of that.
And I also wanted to know, what is the fragrance from Ajmal that's containing the highest percentage of oud oil, real oud oil?
The first fragrance that we have on your left is pure oud oil. That's 100% concentrated oud oil.
So this is the oil.
This is 100% oil.
100% pure oud oil.
Absolutely. And call it qadim, which means old or aged. This quality is most definitely most popular across all the traders. Yes, it is not inexpensive, I would say, but I can tell you the quality is absolutely fabulous. I would say that to really appreciate it and work on it, you should use it and layer it with some other fragrances. Okay, so and I know that you know layering very, very well because I've noticed it. So oud, I encourage people to use it layering because I don't think many people can handle it the way it is. In fact, I should tell you that we have quite a few Western customers as well who are now getting more and more enthusiastic about oud.
I think as well because oud exploded on the market globally, but the sad thing is that not many people even had the chance to smell the real oud.
Sure.
They just know oud as an oud accord. So then when they do get the chance to smell something real, they're like, oh, what is this, you know?
Yeah.
So I think if we could give any advice, I think Abdullah would agree. If you can, try to find a place where you can smell even just a little drop of what real oud smells like. Because then you will be able to identify when a fragrance is containing real oud instead of an oud accord.
Also, what I'd add is that it would always be good if you go to reputed brands. Yeah. Because obviously, I really can't judge who's doing the right or wrong. But the brands, at least you know that they will protect their reputation. So the first thing that you should do if you're really entering into the world of oud is you should talk to the salesperson and tell them, look, I don't know anything about oud. I want to start off with the lightest, the one that is the most engaging with somebody who doesn't know much about oud. Because I know that if you show me the best, it could be too much for me. So you could start off there and then work your way towards the real stuff.
Okay, I think what we should do is smell what you have in front of us. So we we did an order from kind of light, but also these are their new fragrances, but we went light, darker, and then very dark over here.
Yes, absolutely.
To train our nose.
First one is our latest launch. It's Aristocrat Coral, mild floral fragrance. I don't want to talk too much about it. I would let you evaluate it because you do a better job than I do.
Very nice. I have actually tried this one before, and what I get is this beautiful floral fragrance, and I also get like this, you know, this like osmanthus note that smells a bit like apricot-y. But it's so beautiful and very, very smooth, very well blended, very smooth, floral, slightly kind of apricot-y, fruity from this kind of osmanthus touch, and it's beautiful.
Thank you.
I really, really enjoy this fragrance a lot.
So one of the things we wanted was something which is very trendy. It's we needed something addictive, something sticky. So there is now when I mention you'll see it, there is a sort of a marshmallowy kind of a note as well.
But not cloying, you know?
No, not like super
sweet.
Sticky, not like candy floss.
No. Wow, it's very, very beautiful, very easy to wear, and for me personally, I find this fragrance to be slightly more like feminine leaning, but it's very beautiful.
So this one is the partner of Aristocrat Coral. It's called Aristocrat Coastal. This time with these two, we went very marine in some ways in terms of the inspiration.
Kind of peppery,
yes,
woody, fresh, very, very nice. Vetiver as well, I think.
Yes, that is the dominant structure because the inspiration was from the ocean, the hot stone, the rocks, and they do, when that hits the rock, there is this dry, amber, vetiverish type of a smell that comes out, emanates from that area. So we were inspired by this, and my brief was something along those lines.
Do you often get inspired by your travels when it comes to creating a fragrance?
A lot. In fact, my next thing I'm thinking is, you know, park myself in a jungle somewhere, get inspired with a lot of, you know, because every area, every jungle has its own aura. I've traveled to Alaska, and one of the most beautiful places on earth. And the smells I got when we were rafting and etc. was so different from, let's say, the forests of India or Borneo, or they all have their own character. And if you're able to define that character, then the perfumer gets even more inspired and they give you what you really, really want. So today watery notes could be ocean type watery notes. It could be water as in a lake type. Waterfall water smells, it has a more green sort of a note with it. So there are so many differences. Dew that sits on flowers has a little watery but a little floral aspect as well. So there is so much more now than was, let's say, 50 years ago.
I think we should move to Amberwood because this is one of your best-selling fragrances. And were you anticipating the success of this scent?
We always knew that it would be successful. It's one of those fragrances in our testing. So we do extensive market testing as well before. And being a retailer, we have the customers in front of us, right? But we never anticipated it to become a global bestseller. We thought it would be great in the region and accepted in the region for sure, but never thought. I mean, today, alhamdulillah, I can tell you it's selling from the US. In fact, I was in the US in July. And in Beverly Hills, there was a store that is carrying this reference. It's one of their bestsellers from our line. And it even sells in cultures where fragrances are not as bold like China.
Crazy, wow.
It's available there as well. So what's your impression of it?
It's ambery, it's very woody, a little bit sweet, a bit spicy, but it's once again, it's very smooth and I feel like quite easy to wear. You know, it doesn't feel unapproachable in any way. And it smells very, very good.
Thank you.
I would prefer to smell this maybe on like a man. I don't think I would wear this one myself, but I think that this would be an incredible like signature fragrance for a man because it's versatile.
Absolutely. But the women who buy this, normally they would wear this first and then layer it with something very delicate and floral. So they see final product on their skin is actually something that is floral, sexy in some ways,
Yeah.
and then it settles on the woody ambery part
Very nice.
over a period of time.
Very nice. Now, I'm really intrigued by the blue bottle. I have to be honest, I did smell it before and it literally became my new favorite Ajmal fragrance. So let's re-smell it together.
Cool.
And maybe you can explain a little bit about this new launch because it's a new one, right?
Yes, again, it's these three are 2024
Okay.
launches. This is, I'm very proud to say that this is my work of 16 years. Literally, it has taken 16 years to create this. So I always loved cologne as I was growing up. And I'm not talking about the American definition of cologne.
Crazy.
This is cologne, right? But nobody has been able to crack the code, in my opinion, with an oud cologne.
I agree.
Like real oud. People do cologne, and I'm not saying that's wrong, and there are some beautiful ones out there with leathery notes and saffron notes. They don't, I mean, the nomenclature is oud. This is the only, in my opinion, only pure oud cologne out there. And when I was creating it with another perfumer, the idea was that this could be for anybody who likes to wear oud. It's an easy wearable oud.
Yeah.
It's good for places like, even I imagine people, male, female, in the south of France, in Lake Como, that sort of thing, the kind of clothes. I know in your videos you always try and, you know, pair your fragrances with what you're wearing.
Exactly.
I was telling Pierre, I remember one time you were going to dinner with his family,
Yes.
and you were sort of putting certain fragrances and relating that why and everything.
Exactly.
This is that kind of fragrance that I imagine the kind of person who would wear it.
Exactly.
Right? Somebody who likes the freshness, but at the same time wants to enjoy that little bit of oud in there.
Yeah. Honestly, you guys, when I smelled this fragrance, it blew me away, truly. Because like Abdullah said, it's very rare, I think, to find a fragrance that is fresh, but has this tiny touch of real oud in the base. And that is what you're getting with this scent. It's so beautiful and fresh and very smooth, really, really appealing, very beautiful quality. You can really feel it. But in the base, especially when you put it on your skin, you can sense that touch of real oud. And I've smelled a lot of different fresh fragrances over the years, and I've also smelled fresh fragrances that do have oud, but honestly, this is one of the best I've ever smelled.
Thank you.
Please try this fragrance. Please try it. Like, out of everything that I'm going to recommend, this is really something to try, for sure.
So, what I'm going to show you is an EDP of Qadim, which we are going to evaluate later, which is the concentrate. But this is the EDP. It would be at anything between, we normally do nothing less than 15%. None of our fragrances are below 15%, including the cologne that is there. So the oil version is much higher, that's about 22. And let me warn you, but then again, you've seen real oud.
It's okay.
So you've seen
Even
real
the
oud.
color, even the color of this one, it's very appealing to me.
One thing I would say, if you're going to try this sort of fragrances, don't use it too close to your clothes. Don't you spray on white colors because it can stain. But that's the nature of this fragrance. How would you define this?
Come in the video and smell it. I'm going to get Pierre to join me in this video.
So here, do you see the sweetness? That is something that a perfumer would probably say, I'm creating a fragrance where I want the sweetness of oud. This would be the kind of thing they would want to use.
And what type of oud is used in this fragrance?
It's a blend of Indian and Far Eastern.
Okay.
Again, the guys who do this blend are perfumers themselves, but they specialize only in oud. So the variations would be on the basis of how they want to see this eventually. Having said that, these are formulations that has been passed down. Yeah, so Pierre was about to put it, and he's like, oh, maybe not, maybe not.
Because I have the
Oud, yeah.
and I don't want it to take over.
It will.
Because it will, I know.
For me, it has this kind of dry quality to it. It's very woody. I've smelled some oud that is a little bit more sticky, a little bit more cheesy, a little bit more leathery. This one feels to me very woody, very dry. Am I right describing it?
Yes, absolutely. And again, it is the cases that you've seen. It was the creator's version of the way they would want to present it to the customer. Oud is not for everybody, real oud. But for the international community, I would say the usage of real oud in different variations. You need to experience it yourself, and you need to talk to people who can explain it.
Guide you.
And guide you, yeah.
I think that's a great piece of advice. Like, to go to somewhere like Ajmal and ask the vendor, like, I want to try something a little bit more approachable, maybe an oud oil that I can wear every day and mix with a lot of fresh fragrances, and they can help you to find what would be best for you. You don't have to directly go and smell something like this and force yourself into liking it.
Yeah.
It's a journey for everyone. Like for me, I personally would not wear this, but I can still appreciate how it smells, and it was really fascinating to try. So I would love to try the oil.
Last but not least, I mean, but this I will not dip it in a blotter. I would ask you to smell it from the applicator, okay?
Thank you.
And if you are daring enough, you could put a little bit on your skin as well.
I think also coming back to what we were saying before, the oud is a great first.
This is a great starter.
It's a great starter
For somebody who's getting into the oud, the sort of genre, the world of oud, I think eau de oud is the one that they should start with, and then start experiencing the effect of it. And I believe, I mean, I think your followers are more about a passion, the enthusiasm of fragrancing, the ritualistic part of fragrancing, rather than it's just something you just wear in the morning and very functional. If it's functional, there are tons of other stuff as well. But when you really want to immerse yourself in it, and most importantly, be complimented for it, and the best compliment is, damn, that's your smell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
I think that,
compliment.
right, absolutely. I think that's one of the best. And I think Arabs do it the best.
Do you want to? Are
Yeah,
you sure?
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here,
We're
go
gonna put it
on,
on.
go on. And the best way to do it is just rub it in slightly. Slightly rub it in so that it's...
You can really feel the oil translated into the eau de parfum. It's exactly the same oud as you can smell it. It translates perfectly into the eau de parfum version.
Yeah, you can just get that this one is like much more powerful.
The reach of
the difference is,
with the quantity.
having the difference is the EDP is far more blooming, because obviously the lower the percentage, the more it opens up. So in the oil version, it's very basey. And I always explain it to people that typically most fragrances would be, you know, we all know the perfume pyramid, right? The top, the heart, and the base. But when it comes to oud, it is almost entirely base. It's cylindrical, the shape is cylindrical. So people slowly, gradually smell it around you. But it doesn't have like crazy bloom, because that's the nature of it. It's supposed to be appreciated in some ways, maybe intimately. If you took a bottle of, let's say, sandalwood or pure oil, and if you diluted it, you would smell various different notes. And as you cut it down to a lower dosage, there would be more that comes out. That's the reason why perfumers wanted to see it when we took them to Assam. The first time I showed them the oil, and they were like, hang on, what are you doing? I said, that's how we evaluate oud. I said, but that's not how we evaluate raw materials. We evaluate them diluted, and that too at 2%. And that's how I learned that when you're evaluating oud as a raw material, or anything for that matter, is diluted at 2%, and then you look at the notes. Because what they want to see is how it will, what are the notes that come out when eventually when they will add a tiny bit in a formulation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that that's going to conclude the interview with Abdallah Ajmal. I really appreciated your time and talking to you. I learned a lot today, and I really have a lot of respect, obviously, for what you're doing and the brand and your heritage and everything. So thank you so much.
First of all, thank you so much for being here
course.
and being a part of our journey as well, and explaining it to a lot of your followers. I would also say that, you know, we encourage people and we do tours as well, and we explain, and that could be another way where people would be able to come and learn not just about oud but perfumery in general.
Yeah.
The science of it and the art of it.
Do you do tours here?
Yeah,
Or
we do it here as well, and we have another factory which is only oud. So we do the oud incense over there, the process of carving, polishing and everything, and we do the extraction as well.
Okay, so I want to let you guys know that if you come to Dubai or if you're planning to visit, make sure to reach out to Ajmal via email maybe, and you can organize
it's on our website.
Here.
Just write to us and we'll sort it out.
That's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to put on my scent of day. Is it okay to spray in here? I'm going to actually spray on the Eau de Oud, which is now available.
Your technique is fabulous.
Great. Thank you so much, Abdallah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I hope to see you soon. Thank
sure.
you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.